Welcome back. How did your xylophone experiment go? Did you have a lot of fun? I know I had a lot of fun. And I was actually surprised that I could still play Mary Had a Little Lamb. I thought I probably would forget how to do those kinds of things, but I guess it comes right back to you. So those are good things to learn, right? So when we were looking in the sound box and we had the x-rays, when we made the x-rays and we had xylophone and we made some xylophones, and those were the two big words in our letter box that started with the letter X. And I said there's a lot that end with X or they use an X in the words. It's tough to find X words that start with the letter X, right? One of those things that was in the sound box was what did I just say? Box. That's right, a box. So I have a special job for you to do today. I know I'm giving you a lot of homework assignments, but I know you can do them. You're probably just whipping right through all these great things and having a fun time with them. So the last thing I want you to do today before we read a story is with these boxes. You see these boxes? They are all different sizes. These are all what shape? Squares. That's right, squares. Squares are they make a box. Box. Box starts with B, but if you heard that's got that X sound at the end, box, box. So B-O-X. Say it with me. B-O-X. 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 Good job. Now, what I want you to do is carefully do some cutting practice today and cut out each of these boxes. And then you're going to have to line them up because each one will fit inside of the other one. Now, if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you. Here they are. I've got them all held together, but you can use glue if you like. But if you see, each box that you cut out will end up being smaller, and you kind of make a pyramid out of them. And you can glue them, you can stack them. If you don't want to glue them together, that's totally fine because then you can restack them, but they should definitely go in the order of their size. So you start on the bottom, put them in the right sequence. Remember that word? Sequence, which means we're putting them in the right order, is the right sequence. And the right sequence would be from big to little. Or if you're talking about the bottom, it'd be from the little to the big. But you're not going to be able, if you start with the little one on the bottom, you aren't going to be able to see what size they are. So it's best to start with the biggest one on the bottom of your pile and then make sure each box fits on top of the next box. Very nice. I know you'll have a great time. And good job using your fingers and cutting practice and keeping in practice for all these things that we get to do at school, right? So before we go, I have another X word. It doesn't start with the letter X, but it does end with the letter X, okay? And it is called, there is our letter X right there. And that word is, do you know what this guy is? An ox. And it's called Ox Cart Man. And it says Donald Hall. Who is Donald Hall? You're right. Good job, the author. And we know that author writes the story. Author writes the story. Author writes the story. That's why he came first. And then I'm going to open the page to the title page. Good job. The title page. And it says Pictures by Barbara Cooney. Well, pictures, what does that mean? That's right. She's the illustrator. And we know that illustrators illustrate, illustrators illustrate, illustrators illustrate, which means she makes the pictures. Good job for Oxman or Ox Cart Man. Silly Mrs. Ryan. Get them out of the wrong order. Okay, in October, he backed his ox into his cart, and he and his family filled it up with everything they made or grew all year long that was left over. There's our ox, and there's the ox cart, and there's the ox cart man. He packed a bag of wool he sheared from the sheep in April. He packed his shawl his wife wove on a loom from the yarn spun at the spinning wheel from the sheep sheared in April. He packed 5 pairs of mittens his daughter knit from the yarn spun at the spinning wheel from the sheep sheared in April. Now we know about our months, don't we? He packed candles the family made. He packed linen from the flax they grew. He packed shingles he split himself. He packed birch brooms his son carved with a borrowed kitchen knife. They're loading all those things into the ox cart that our friend the ox is hooked to. He packed potatoes they dug from their garden, but first he counted out the potatoes enough to eat all winter, and potatoes for seed the next spring. He packed a barrel of apples, honey and honeycombs, turnips and cabbages, a wooden box of maple sugar from the maples they tapped in March, and they boiled and boiled and boiled the sap away, and he packed a bag of goose feathers that his children collected from the barnyard geese. Look at all of that. Wow. When his cart was full, he waved goodbye to his wife, his daughter, and his son, and he walked at his ox's head for 10 days. Wow, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 days. Over hills, through valleys, by streams, past farms and villages, until he came to Portsmouth Market. He sold the bag of wool. He sold the shawl his wife made. He sold 5 pairs of mittens. He sold candles and shingles. He sold birch brooms. He sold potatoes. He sold apples. He sold honey and honeycombs, turnips and cabbages. He sold maple sugar. He sold a bag of goose feathers. Wow, he was selling everything they packed. Then he sold the wooden box he had carried the maple sugar in. Then he sold the barrel he carried the apples in. Then he sold the bag he carried the potatoes in. Then he sold his ox cart. Wow. Then he sold his ox and kissed him goodbye on his nose. Goodbye, ox. Then he sold his ox's yoke and harness, and with his pocket full of coins, he walked through the Portsmouth market. He bought an iron kettle to hang over the fire at home, and for his daughter he bought an embroidery needle that came from a boat in the harbor that had sailed all the way from England. And for his son he bought a Barlow knife for carving his birch brooms with. And for the whole family he bought 2 pounds of wintergreen peppermint candies. Yum. Then he walked home with the needle and the knife and the wintergreen peppermint candies tucked into the kettle, and a stick over his shoulder stuck through the kettle's handle, and the coins still in his pocket. Past farms and villages, over hills, through valleys, by streams, until he came to his farm, and his son, his daughter, and his wife were waiting for him. And his daughter took her needle and began stitching, and his son took his Barlow knife and started whittling. And they cooked dinner in their new kettle, and afterward everyone ate a wintergreen peppermint candy. And that night the ox cart man sat in front of his fire stitching a new harness for the young ox in the barn. So he had another ox left at home, and he sold the harness, so he was starting to make a new harness for the new ox. He carved a new yoke, and he sawed planks for a new cart, and split shingles all winter. My word, he sure was busy. While his wife made flax into linen all winter, and his daughter embroidered linen all winter, and his son carved Indian brooms from birch all winter, and everybody made candles. Busy, busy, busy. And in March, they tapped the sugar maple trees and boiled the sap down. Maple syrup and maple sugar, yummy. And in April, they sheared the sheep, spun yarn, and wove and knitted. Look at how skinny the sheep look after they've had their hair cut. Bet they feel happy and clean. And in May, they planted potatoes, turnips, and cabbages, while apple blossoms bloomed and fell, while bees woke up and started to make new honey. And the geese squawked in the barnyard, dropping feathers as soft as clouds. And you know, the family is going to go pick up those feathers. So in the fall, once again, the ox man will head to town and sell all the things that he had made and his family had made over the winter and this summer. So then they will have their money for next winter and summer. And the cycle just keeps going. All right, let's talk about cycles. That means that's all for today. So if our cycle is over of class for today, it means we need to be alligators. You ready? See you later, alligator. See you later, alligator. Bye bye, butterfly. Bye bye, butterfly. Give a hug, ladybug. Give a hug, ladybug. Be sweet, parakeet. Be sweet, parakeet. Blow a kiss, jellyfish. Blow a kiss, jellyfish. See you soon, raccoon. See you soon, raccoon. Take care, polar bear. Take care, polar bear. Out the door, dinosaur. Out the door, dinosaur. So long, King Kong. So long, King Kong. Bye, Santa Fly. Bye, bye, Santa Fly. Well, bye-bye for today. And remember, my preschool friends, Mrs. Ryan loves you so much, but God loves you even more. See you next week. Bye-bye.